What are some interviews that you didn't like?
Oof. Well, of course, I'm not going to name anybody, but
Give me like a hint of who they are, but like don't drop too much.
okay, okay. No, dude, I have specific names in mind, and like these are local artists, and like they, oh gosh, no. But all I'll say is that if you are scheduled for an interview, right? If
Mm,
you're scheduled for an interview and your management puts you up to it, whatever, you go there and you talk. You answer the questions and you do your best to make something entertaining out of it. I know, yes, you are an artist, you're a band, you're a singer, and so you make music, and sometimes it's not fun to do the whole interview portion of it, but
mm,
part of the job. And the interviews I don't like are the ones where they obviously like think that this is stupid
yeah.
because it's like it's press and it's like marketing
Mm,
and whatever, but I'm here trying my best to make something genuine out of it. And obviously I know, yes, there are some parts of it that are complete BS, that feel super fabricated, that feel like it's just part of the typical process of
yeah.
label back music. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, Margot and I, my co-host on Play FM, we're doing our best to, get information out of you about your music, about why you're doing this, and we're doing our best to make something fun out of it. So you got to work with us,
Mm,
And if you think it's stupid, then tell me you think it's stupid. Like, just feel free to be like, just don't be cold and don't
right.
be
Right.
an R, because that just makes it uncomfortable for me, for them, and for people tuned in. I mean, yeah.
How do you feel when you're in the middle? When you're in the
Mhm.
middle of one of those conversations?
Well, I mean, at that point, it really is just a difficult decision. You're not sure if you point it out and make a joke out of it, or if you just
Mm,
keep continuing with the interview like nothing's wrong. Because
yeah.
there have been some artists that really don't reciprocate, or that really give out this vibe that they're not interested in doing this. And as much as I want to be like, all right, folks, well, clearly they don't want to be here, and neither do I. So let's just wrap this thing up, because that'd be fun to hear on air. Can you
Yeah, it would
imagine
be.
you
It
listening
would
to an
be.
interview? That'd be pretty fun, because I'm always thinking about the audience. Like, what would be the most
Yeah.
fun for the audience to hear? And
Right.
obviously, I can't, make fun of the whole interview like that with like their management there, and it might
For
be
sure. For
rude to the
sure.
artist also. So you never
Yeah.
really know. So I guess at that point, you really just clock in. You just do the job. You ask the questions. You have them talk about their singles, and you wrap it up, and you just chalk it up to artists that don't like doing interviews, which again is totally fine. You don't have to be obligated to like interviews, because again, there are people who aren't comfortable with speaking, and that's well
Right.
within their right.
Yeah.
But it's part of it, and
Yeah.
yeah, it may be an uncomfortable part to these people, but we're all just trying to do our jobs.
What's one radio question cliche that you could just, if you could, you just remove it completely?
God, dude, can experienced radio DJs please stop asking artists where they got the inspiration for the song? Because, dude, like, oh my God, like, yep. So they send you, if it's like a major artist. Okay, so if it's a small artist and there's no info about the song, yes, that's the perfect time to ask
Mm,
it, because there's
mm,
no info about that.
yeah.
But most of the time, these labels send you, literally they send you a press kit
Mm,
with
yeah.
the inspiration behind the
Right.
song in the
Yeah.
email. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm here thinking, y'all didn't read the email. Like, you guys are reading the email, because it literally states there, like, so many of like the opening questions uh are answered in the press kit. And
Mm,
that to me is, an example of someone who isn't, I wouldn't call them lazy, but I would call them, I would say that they're not doing their job right as an interviewer. Because
mm.
what I do, I'll let you in on kind of like what I do when preparing for an interview.
Go for it.
Before I write any questions, I watch like the 2 or 3 most recent interviews of that artist.
Mm.
And what I do is I don't ask any of the questions that have already been asked in those interviews. Instead, I ask about the answers they gave.
Oh, that's a good. That's a good one.
Yeah. because artists, they love it when you say like, so you were on this show and then you
Yeah.
answered this question and you talked about this, can you talk more about that? Because then they're like, wow, you're actually like did your
Right.
research and you
Yeah.
actually like want to know these things, as opposed to just like, so what's the inspiration behind the song, so what's the meaning of the music video, so what's next for you, like,
How'd you come up with
you
the
know,
band
these,
name?
yeah, exactly. Like these are all, questions that have already been answered, and which also leads me to one of my favorite interview questions that I love asking. It's what interview question are you most tired of hearing?
Mm.
Because it gives them an opportunity to actually like kind of break them like the fourth wall a little
Right.
bit and
Yeah.
just be real, and it kind of makes them comfortable in a sense that, okay, this guy is really trying his best to just converse with me and to have a normal conversation. So the fact that you asked what's one question that you want to remove is also just like a breath of fresh air to me, because I've always been wanting to talk about this, but I always feel so mean talking about it. But I'm glad you gave me the opportunity to actually like answer it.
I asked because we went on. So of course, like with Nathan and Murky, right? We had like this month or 2 months of like just full of like radio shows,
Yeah.
and a lot of them asked the same questions, right? Like what you said, like
Mhm.
it's the whole like
Yeah.
how'd you come up with the name for Nathan
Yeah.
and Mercury's. I remember at one point, I'm sure they were so sick of. So who's Mercury?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everyone's just like,
Mhm.
all right, like come on, like
Yeah.
we're here, like what the heck? But anyway,
Yeah.
um, so I asked that question because I also feel that way for myself, right? Even when I
Mhm.
have interviews with people, I like to go around and stalk them. So anyone who's ever
Mhm.
interviewed with me, I've stalked you, right? I have
Right.
gone through your Instagram, I've gone through your websites, I've gone through yours, like whatever. Like I have done
Yeah.
stuff just so you get better questions.
Yeah. For sure.
You
Yeah.
get all these things, and you get to discuss what you said. If you can
Yeah.
say, "Oh, this happened to you," or "Oh, you said this," can you talk
Yeah.
about it?
Yeah.
That's a lot more intriguing than what does this mean
Right.
question.
Right. On the flip side, I just listening, just remembering what I was saying like literally minutes ago. I don't want to make it seem like these questions are off limits, because
Oh,
again,
no,
they've
no,
been
no.
like the
Yeah,
backbone. They've been the backbone of every interview
yeah,
since the
yeah.
beginning of time. And yes, there are times and places to ask them, but then I feel like in this day and age with artists, again, you having experienced it as manager and going around to all these like press things, and to hear the same questions asked over and over again, you must wonder like, these people are kind of just like phoning it in, and
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want that vibe to come from my own show. So, I think it really is just a matter of taking the usual questions and finding new ways to ask them. Like, for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
yes, we have like, again, my show has been guilty of asking, where did you get the band name?
Of course.
But I, at a certain point, I was like, you know what? I told Margot we should stop asking what the band name means and we should start making it a game. So we ended up making it a game where Margot and I would have our own crazy theories about why this band is named a certain way,
Oh,
and then
that's
the band will tell us
fun.
if we're correct or incorrect,
Right.
and then they can correct us and explain the story if they want to. But I think it's just what really grinds like the gears of these artists is just hearing the question asked again and again in the same way, because
Yeah.
they feel like they're kind of just repeating themselves. Just find new ways to say stuff, and it'll translate and people will notice, and artists will notice too.